Howdy again, Mr. Pete 222, and this is part 2 of my field trip to the ALUMITANK Company, and it's also about a half-hour long, so if you haven't seen part 1, be sure and go back and catch that, because it is a complete tour, if you watch both parts, of this great company in northern Illinois where they make aluminum fuel tanks for semis and many other applications as well. So I think you'll find this very interesting. So join me now in the middle of the tour. Well, we're walking into the next building, and quite a different smell, but pleasant compared to the other building. We also repair fuel tanks for customers that have been damaged, or they need to be modified for some reason. Maybe the fill is in the wrong place. Perhaps they need another fitting in it or something, that we can accommodate them here as well. So there's a lot of welding going on in this building with all of the filter screens I see. This first booth here to our right here is the booth that we do the repair work of the tank. You can see there's a tank in here right now. This tank here is being modified for some reason. This is a customer's tank that has been brought to us. And it would probably, they would need additional fittings or something. So we will perform that here, and then when we're done, we will pressurize this tank, hydrostat it, and make sure that it's leak-free before we turn it out of here. And some of these tanks maybe were not originally made by you? That's correct. Yeah. This one is one that is made by an original equipment manufacturer. Cylindrical. And just hold it for a minute. Hard to do. But as you can see here, there's quite an assortment of different sizes and shapes of tanks. Like I said earlier, we started out originally just making round or cylindrical tanks. Then we had so many inquiries from county highway departments and state highway departments wanting to know if we could make a replacement square tank, rectangular tank. And so we did, and we tooled up, the biggest problem being the end caps, and we'll walk over here and you can see that. All of these various tanks here, this one happens to be a rectangular tank. Well, each one of these tanks require a special end cap which has to come off of a forming die. This is a rectangular. This one here is what we call a D-shaped tank, which is a shape like a capital letter D. So various types of sizes of tanks. Pretty much most all of the sizes that we make are utilized for Class 8 trucks, Class 7 trucks, 5, 6, and 5 as well. These are mill grade finish. You can see they do not have the plastic coating on the exterior of the tank. Yeah, but yet they're still beautiful. Now here's the tank. These tanks here, Lyle, are polished, as you can see here. This happens to be going on a Freightliner truck. These tanks have been cut. The holes have been cut in them. They've been rolled, cleaned, and now they're coming over to this machine here. This is a machine that Terry and I built many years ago, which will weld the lateral seam down the side of the tank. So that's basically automated. That portion is, yes. Yeah. Right now they're just tack welded. And that holds it in position until you get it up into the seaming machine. This mandrel here, and it moves into the machine, and the end cap is put down to hold the mandrel up in position. But then these individual fingers are activated by a piece of fire hose that is on either side of this. When that's inflated, each one of these fingers will come down, but they will also go in. So the joint that you're going to weld is nice and tight. And that's important because when you weld aluminum, if you have a gap in there, especially when it's automated and coming down through there, it'll burn. It'll burn through.
Yeah.
So it has to be nice and tight.
Yeah, it reminds me of a box and pan brake.
Yes, it looks just like the individual pieces.
Yeah. So this was a concoction of you and...
Yes, although we can't take credit for the design. This is a company out of California, Jetline, that originally had the patent and many years ago on it. We just basically replicated it.
And then here's the actual nozzle and wire. And here's the roll of aluminum wire. Here he is loading the machine for the seam weld. There he is welding the seam.
Pretty good? The end caps, or the heads, we call them, in the ends of the tank. Hey, Gary.
And there's one of the heads, or caps.
Peterbilt style head. This tank here will be a split tank. And what I mean by split tank, it has a combination of diesel fuel in the latter part of the tank, and then on this side here, that'll have a bulkhead that's heliarched into the tank. So this end will have hydraulic oil. So if it's a tank that has, or a truck that needs what we call a wet kit or a hydraulic pump to raise a dump trailer, or possibly it has a hydraulic motor that runs a winch or something.
I had no idea that there were tanks like that, and that's the bulkhead?
That's the bulkhead
that he's putting in?
Yes. And what he will do with that, because that has to fit so tight in there, he will take that over to a machine that we've built that presses that in very tightly into the location so that the gallonage is correct for the customer.
All right. But the oil end, of course, is probably...
Right, hold her just a minute. This area here would be hydraulic oil, and the balance of it here, would be diesel fuel.
Okay. So the vast majority is for fuel.
Yes.
Yeah. And what did you say? That's for a Peterbilt, huh?
Yeah, Peterbilt.
Beautiful.
And this has been welded here on that machine that we just looked at.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Jerry, this is... basically big drawers. And when we build a tank, of course, we want to make sure that we don't waste a lot of material. So when the operator gets ready to shear the tank, he will choose the right size of material so you minimize the amount of, as we say, hits the floor, waste.
Sure.
So they'll pull the drawer out, they'll take this vacuum lift and they'll pull that sheet off and bring it over and they'll shear it to size.
So these are the drawers basically underneath there.
See how that rolls out, Lyle?
Oh yeah, there's a track.
Yeah, and otherwise you couldn't get the lower ones because they're buried in underneath there. So they roll out and pull off the...
Picked up by a vacuum.
Yep.
And then over to the shear.
Yep, to this shear here.
And this is CNC also?
Yes, it's CNC from the standpoint that it has an encoder on the back stop of it so that we can set in here whatever size or depth we want to cut.
Sure. And then this is all the paperwork, the prints of what they need to make, and the schedule, what day they need it.
That's correct.
And probably the quantity, or is there just one of each?
No, there could very well be two of them, but generally speaking, every tank that goes through has a sheet. So
a pedigree.
And as you'll notice, each one of these sheets has a barcode on it.
Yes, I do.
And that identifies what tank, where it is in the shop, and I'll show you later how we keep track of that so we know where the tank is in production. If the customer calls and says, hey, can you move the tank up or whatever, we'll say it's in shearing right now or it's in having the end caps put in it. It'll be done at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
You can find it, track it, and I suppose that's the barcode reader?
That's right.
That's the reader up there.
I'll show you over here the one should be, I would just as soon, you can look at it and if you want to film it, it's okay, but I just as soon not put it out because it's kind of a priority.
Okay, and I won't, is that what we're going to see now?
No, this one here you can see, this is where they weld the end caps into the barrel of the tank.
Oh yeah.
We have a new machine that we're building. This will only weld one end at a time, but the new one will weld both ends at the same time. He's getting it set up, and now he's ready to crack it. Running? Go ahead. This is one of the first machines that we built.
Yeah, that's a little bright.
Yep.
You can see how the tank is rotating.
Yeah.
And that's a machine that you and Terry built.
Yeah,
Awesome.
with the used steel.
I just saw a machine that made these end caps, but that was something that I couldn't film here. But this man here, this operator, is multi-talented and does a beautiful job on shaping these ends. And they can do just about any different size. There's the scrap.
PC robot, and we use it to weld primarily our square tanks, rectangular tanks, D-shaped tanks.
So it is a welder.
It is a welder. It's a robot that's, the power supply sits off to our left here. What's unique about this machine is that the robot arm itself is talking to the rotator, which is on the headstock of the lathe here. And what that allows us to do is as you weld a square tank or whatever and you get to the corner, the speed has to change. Then when you get to the flat part of the tank, it has to change again. So it slows, it speeds up as necessary so that you always get your feet per minute travel the same.
That remains constant.
Yes. Now, all these X's that you see up here, or crosses, are the fixtures that fit into the rotator here so that it will accommodate that specific size of tank. This one here, as you can see here, is a 14-inch by 20.5-inch tank. And this will grip, hold the tank in the proper position, because when you weld something robotically, the fit up is paramount. It has got to fit perfectly. The robot will follow the path that it needs to, but as far as the tweaking or the actual narrowing it into the precise position, this has a laser tracker on the boom up there. It's the red device just to the left of the welding tip itself there.
Yeah.
That's a laser that follows that welding joint. Very, very precise.
We're at the robot welding machine. I can't have much battery left. I'm a little worried about it going off at any minute. I took a lot of footage. Am I all right?
Yeah, you're good.
This is where they test the tanks for leaks.
Yes.
And you're doing it under some pressure too, or just gravity?
Yes, we pressurize the inside of the tank and submerge it underwater and look for the bubble.
We got a new tank under construction right now. It's 10 feet long. It's made out of stainless, so we don't have a corrosion issue.
So we got some bubbles coming up, but the plugs are probably leaking.
right.
We're not testing the wells there, and so this will be a good tank.
What's interesting about pressure checking these is that you will look very carefully and you can see tiny, tiny little bubbles coming up from an intersection where the weld is stopped or something. And by having the pressure inside the tank, submerged underwater, that's the only way you would find that leak.
Because they're minute leaks, some of them.
Very minute. And you certainly don't want to find the leak after the customer gets it and he goes to the truck stop and fills the tank full of diesel fuel and starts leaking.
You got that right. And what's your pressure here?
It's about 10 to 12
10 to 12 pounds.
pressure.
And I've done some leak testing myself, and I know exactly what you're talking about, the tiniest little bubbles coming out of there. And this is well lit from the bottom, and the water is clean and clear.
We've got a new pressure tank, testing tank that we're building now. It's all stainless steel. You can see how this is rusted pretty badly.
Yeah.
But the new one will have more lighting in it, and it will be more advantageous. They will.
So this one is being prepped for the.
Yeah, this is going into the test tank.
Okay. They're putting in plugs, and look at those pretty welds.
Hold on.
Yes, a lot of different shapes. Really interesting to see those.
Yes.
You know, when I was a kid, all of the tanks on semis were strictly round.
Yeah.
Round tanks, like this.
We make some very unusual tanks. They'll QC it, they'll make sure that all of the fittings are in the proper place. If there's any defects or flaws or whatever, he catches it there. Actually, it's done with him and the other man that we just seen here. They're very good at making sure that's according to print. Once that meets their approval, they will go ahead and package the tank up for shipment. They're putting foam on the ends of the tank so that if it does get bounced or dropped, there's a reasonable safety. Then over here, they're cardboarding it, getting it ready for shipment.
This is the last stage here where they're being packaged and prepped for shipping and wrapped in cardboard. Boy, that must be about a 7 or 8 foot tank.
Yeah, gallonage on that pile would be. This is a 200-gallon tank.
200 gallon tank.
Yeah.
So it'd be $500 to fill that with fuel.
Oh yeah. More than that.
And we got another big old woodworking bandsaw over there.
Terry found that over at Boyd in the corner of a shop over there. And it had chicken around the guards on it. And so on. Bought that thing, brought it home, tore it all apart. It had davit bearings in it, and he switched them over to ball bearings. Made the ends to resemble a tank end on the end to guard the wheels. They use it every year. They use it for cutting cardboard.
We'll have a look at that. Well, since the guards are homemade, I don't see a trademark on it. Do you know what make it is?
Terry made those. I think it's either a Tanowitz or a Northfield. I'm not sure.
Yates American was also a major manufacturer, but yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Well, I've had a wonderful day here at AlumiTank, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'm finally getting ready to go home. And they're still making tanks and cranking them out, and I thank Terry and his brother for opening this wonderful factory and business to YouTube so that some of you can share what's going on here in northern Illinois. And I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed spending the day here making aluminum tanks. This is tubalcain saying so long for now.